apologies for the lateness of this review. Had a bit of a manic weekend, was working over the weekend, and obviously yesterday was my birthday as well. So decided I'm going to do the review today. Now let me say, when I read this on Friday, I was very, very impressed. Obviously it's had a 2-week hiatus. Let me quickly explain about the breaks. What's going to happen is we're going to get 3 digital chapters, okay, 3 weeks in a row, and then the print version will come out the Wednesday after, and then 2-week hiatus, and then 3 more digital copies, and then so they're going to be a burst of three digital issues, the print issue, and then 2 weeks with nothing, and then it'll start all over again. So kind of a bit of a shame, throwing off the momentum in that way, but as I say, it's back, and I was really, really impressed with this issue, this particular chapter. We've got Lex Luthor, who's gone to the Metropolis General Hospital to do a scan on his brain to find out a bit more about it, you know, how his brain is progressing. The doctor tells him that not only that it's fully grown, it's essentially new. His brain is operating at a higher percentage than normal, which is kind of not surprising, because he is highly intelligent. Then there's a question about, you know, why is he seeing Tess? Is she a hallucination? And you know we do see Tess again in this chapter, and he's confronting her and finding out whether or not she is a hallucination. And what's interesting is what she says is, you know, we might have some answers if you spent a little more time obsessing on that, on that instead of whether or not Superman is going to murder us all. So that might be a little hint to Lex to say, you know, stop worrying about Superman, focus more as to whether or not Tess is a hallucination. He's got a press conference later on, so I'll get to that in a moment. We see Superman is out in space, examining the area of where the spaceship came through the rift. He's even mentioned that he's already used X-ray, infrared and gamma visions, of which is to a massive surprise to a certain Chloe Sullivan, asking, you know, since when have you been able to use multi-spectrum vision? And what I love the most, and I've got to show you these guys, I've got to show you this instead, is Star Labs. As you can see, if you look underneath where it says Star Labs, it's actually known as the Swan Technology and Research, which I think is a very, very, very awesome touch, in a nod to obviously the late Virgil Swan, who was played by the late Christopher Reeve. It's very, very, it's awesome that they've used that you know, Brian was able to incorporate that into the comics, and obviously it gives you that connection, that continuity, to say that Virgil Swan was all about allowing the traveller to learn about himself, find out who he is, why he's been sent to Earth, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, very, very touching. So that's all happening in Star Labs between Superman, Chloe, and also Dr. Emil Hamilton. I just want to also point your attention to something. It's quite interesting that his Superman's belt actually has a sort of like a texting messaging device. He's got a pager. Look at that. And I'm kind of a bit worried about Lois's text messaging abilities. Yeah, it's not, I mean, yeah. That's not even something I would like write up, try and make it as more readable as possible, but we all understood what she meant anyway. So Lex's conference, which is here, okay, this is where he is about to give the unveiling of the Guardian defense platforms that he's going to place above Earth. But before he can do that, a certain Lois Lane decides to question him regarding Tess Mercer. You know, what happened to him after he died, and what happened to her after and before she died, and she's giving him all these questions. It's typical Lois. It is pretty much typical Lois, hounding and hounding and hounding till she eventually gets the truth. You know, Lex was sort of stumbling to begin with, but then he overcomes that and gives her all the answers that she kind of was looking for. Still making out that Tess committed suicide, Obviously, he's not going to admit in public or even to anybody else that he was the one that killed her. And obviously Clark and Lois are aware that Lex killed Tess, but how can they prove that without any hard evidence? So again, it all harks back to, like, say, season 7 in Descendants, when Clark killed Lionel Luthor, and there was evidence of a video of a camera that of a photo that Jimmy Olsen had took at the time, and yet it was taken away, and they couldn't prove that he was the one that killed Lionel. So again, that's what it sort of harks back to. But what is also interesting is that obviously, as I say, he's mentioning the Guardian defense platforms. As you can see, there's the spaceship, or the rocket ship that he's about to launch, and Lois asks, who's going to be piloting this ship in such a short notice, and this is when we are presented with Commander Hank Henshaw, of whom Lex actually puts, to begin with, as our very own Superman. Now, that is again a hint, connection, nod to during the reign of Superman, after Superman was killed by Doomsday. 4 guys took his place, and they were Steel, Superboy, the Eradicator, and Cyborg Superman. Cyborg Superman is who Hank Henshaw eventually becomes. So it's shaping up, is all I'm going to say. So I'm really looking forward to it. And this is what I mean. What I loved about this chapter is that everything was balanced. You had Lex, you had Tess, Clark, Lois, Chloe, Emil Hamilton was in there as well. You had typical Lois, okay, hounding at Lex, asking him questions that he obviously did not want to answer in public. And as I say, you've got Superman as well. There's the whole progression of his powers. Even Emil Hamilton was even saying how that the reason Star Labs was built was to allow for Superman to increase his learn more about his powers, and increase whatever training they can gain from his findings of his vision related powers, as it were. So yeah, it's just very well balanced. Everything was perfect, and I absolutely did enjoy it. So again, thumbs up to the guys, Kat Staggs, obviously. The cover in particular was just brilliant. We've already seen the cover when she teased it a couple of months back or so. There it is, good old Lex Luthor. Brian Q. Miller obviously doing the writing. We've got Pierre Perez for the artwork. It's going really well so far. So again, amazing issue, brilliant chapter even, and absolutely loved it. So there we go. That's it from me. Thank you all very much, and let me know what you thought of it if you've read it as well. And yeah, have a good week, and I'll see you all later. Bye bye.